Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print, the Force is with the readers, and we return to July of 1985 for more of Ewoks. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm your host, Nathan P. Butler. The issue we're looking at this time is Ewoks number 4, The Valley of Evil. It says, Wicket, says Tebow, we're saved by these rocks. I'm afraid, Tebow, they're not rocks. Big creature coming up after them. Okay, The Valley of Evil. This is again a bi-monthly series. Dave Manak and Warren Krimmer are back as writer and artist respectively, and you can still find this these days in the pages of Star Wars Omnibus, Droids, and Ewoks, which has all the Star comic stuff and that one coloring book from Golden Books colored in here. We'll deal with that later. Now this story again has 3 parts to it. Valley of Evil is the main name for the whole story, but also the first part. Then we have The Deadly Game and A Chase to the End. Basically, Wicket and Tebow have been out scouting, and they try to take a shortcut to get back to the Ewok village as quickly as they can, to Bright Tree Village. Well, in doing so, they pass through the so-called Valley of the Lizard Warriors, or the Valley of Evil, and while they're on their way through, they get captured by Jodar and the Lizard Warriors, only to find out, when they are brought as captives, that the Lizard Warriors are actually working with someone else. Graak, G-R-A-A-K, and Graak, that's this unhappy-looking Ewok right there, is an Ewok exile. Basically, he was trying to conquer, as we see in a flashback, which is very rare to see in these comics here. As we see in a flashback, Graak was basically wanting to conquer on behalf of the Ewoks, and Chirpa was saying, no, we only use violence in self-defense, therefore, begone with him! Right, as Boss Nass would say, get him the heck out of here, he is not welcome here anymore, and now he essentially wants revenge, and he has Jodar and the Lizard Warriors working for him to do just that. He decides to take Wicket and Tebow and put them to a test, essentially sort of a Running Man type of thing. They are going to go out into the valley and try to escape, try to reach the end of it, which would mean they've won the game, but he's going to send his Lizard Warriors after them to kill the 2 young Ewoks. They wind up having some moments where, you know, they defeat the bumbling Lizard Warriors by Wicket sends a tree rolling at them to knock them off a cliff and whatnot. Kind of some goofy moments. They take sticks as if they are bats and hit little spiky gumball things at the Lizard Warriors that somehow still stick to them and hurt them even though they've got scales. And eventually they make their way across some water in a swamp, and that's where you get what happened on the cover with the big creature coming out of the water, which is referred to by Wicket as an Endorian swamp beast. Now, okay, decent name. Why would he call it an Endorian swamp beast? I mean, if I run into a Cocker Spaniel, do I say, it's an Earth Cocker Spaniel, or a Terran Cocker Spaniel? No, I would just say a Cocker Spaniel. So why is it that they're referring to as an Endorian swamp beast, when, you know, this is their world? It doesn't seem as though there's a lot of Ewoks traveling the stars or anything like that. Though, of course, we have the Marauders coming and all that kind of stuff that ties into the battle for Endor. So maybe they know a little bit more of that. Of course, they knew about the pirates back a couple issues ago, so they have more of a knowledge of beyond Endor than what one would imagine. So anyway, Jodar winds up in the swamp. He winds up being attacked by that Endorian swamp beast, and rather than just letting it kill Jodar, Wicket swings down with basically a hornet's nest or a bee hive kind of thing in his hands and tosses it into the creature's mouth. It does the classic cartoon kind of thing and winds up allowing Jodar to leave. They save him so that when Graak finally shows up to basically cheat at the end, once they've made it across and say, haha, you didn't win, I'm going to kill you anyway, it is Jodar who winds up helping them. So he's been taught a lesson, right? What is the lesson here exactly? Do I lead you or do I not, Jodar? Says Graak. A good question, Graak, but perhaps our lead would be better taken from these young scouts who taught me something that I could never learn from you. Ha! What is that? Compassion, Graak. Helping someone when there's no need to. How cutesy can you get? But, again, it's aimed at children. So this one actually has sort of a moral to the story, just like the one where we saw the pirates and Nisa proving herself, showing that girls can do anything a boy can, and so forth. Suffice to say, once they're done, they take off, and it's basically a long shortcut here. As they leave, we have that quick little quip, that the thing that should end with dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, with Wicket saying, you know, Tebow, I think this was the longest shortcut I ever took. Tebow says, "What do you mean, Wicket? It took days off our trip." To which Wicket replies, "Yes, but I feel as if it took years off my life." Dun 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 dun, or perhaps a blip, 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 that's all, folks. Right? Because, I mean, it's just a cutesy little tale. Now, again, this is kind of interesting because it adds a little bit of a dark side to it. The idea of an exiled Ewok, a flashback in the story, which is unusual, giving us a sense that not all Ewoks are the way we see the Ewoks of the Bright Tree Village portrayed. Some are actually evil. So it is kind of interesting to see that dynamic in here. I would say it's one of the better issues of the Ewok comic series, but is this an essential read? Of course not. It's not an essential read for modern readers, Ewok cartoon watchers, and comic readers. I mean, it really is just a standalone, quick little issue. It'd be kind of neat if Grak wound up coming back and playing a bigger role in something later on, but at this point, just kind of a throwaway story here. A decent little story for this series, right, for Manak and Krimmer, but not anything particularly special to write home about otherwise. Not something I would expect people to rush and try to find unless you're just trying to complete a collection here. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the readers.